全試合日程が完了し、全選手の成績が確定いたしました。早速ですが、All-MLB の投票ノミネートが開始され、日本人選手としては大谷翔平選手と今永昇太選手がエントリーしていました。進行役のお二人もエントリーされたメンバーで選ぶ All-MLB を発表していたので、今回はそちらの番組を日本語に翻訳してお届けいたします。このチャンネルでは日本人メジャーリーガーに関する現地放送局の様子を翻訳してお届けいたします。お見逃しのないよう、今のうちにチャンネル登録をお願いいたします。
So I know we've run out of superlatives when it comes to Shohei Ohtani, but there he is on that list, along with Yordan Alvarez, Marcell Ozuna, who's in the MVP conversation, Kyle Schwarber, the most powerful leadoff hitter ever in Philadelphia Phillies history, Brent Rooker, the A's, and Jock Peterson of the D-backs as well. Certainly some worthy nominees. Sack with Ohtani, you can go in any direction you want, but I don't think anyone was expecting this season.
No, I'm going to sing my song, Oh, 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 Ohtani. He's simply the best baseball player we've seen. Without question, MLB Network here.
He could fly. Max Carey.
We could fly. Max Carey video.
Yeah, really good.
Get Harry Carey on Max Carey and forget about it. He was unbelievable. Steve, for yourself, Schwarber, an atypical leadoff hitter.
How about 15 home runs this year out of the leadoff spot in a game? I mean, a record-setting single-season record for him. But the production from him, and here's the thing, reverse splits. He dominated left-handers this year, absolutely destroyed them, taking that high fastball, driving it out of the ballpark, power to all fields. One of 6 players this year with 100 runs scored and 100 RBIs out of the leadoff spot, leading the National League in base on balls as well. So a different sort of table setter, but a guy that can do it with big-time power production. And he sets the tone, and quite honestly, with all the players, he is the leader of the Philadelphia Phillies.
Good point. I've been there in spring training as well. That was a collective thought. Bryce Harper might be a bigger name, but Schwarber is the heartbeat of that team. I'll give love to Brent Rooker, the Oakland Athletics. Again, had a phenomenal year. Maybe for some people under the radar because he's on the Oakland A's, but tons of power. And Rooker brought it. 39 home runs, tied with Jose Ramirez and Marcell Ozuna. 5th most in the majors, 112 RBI, tied for 4th, and his 927 OPS was 9th. Overall, he hit .338, a 1087 OPS with runners in scoring position, added up for a 5.6 WAR in 145 games overall. These guys were absolutely electric. I love what Jose Barrios did for the Blue Jays this season. Ronald Blanco, 7th best ERA in baseball and 2nd lowest in the AL line, only Tarik Skubal. Corbin Burns, 12th in the majors in ERA, was great in September, 1.2 ERA. Dylan Cease for the Padres, Garrett Crochet, a 6-12 one loss but 3.58 ERA. Jack Flaherty was unbelievable for the Dodgers. Luis Gil could be Rookie of the Year for the Yankees. Logan Gilbert actually led the majors with both 208 and 2/3 innings and a .89 whip. He was fantastic, as was Hunter Green. Other nominees, Tanner Houck of the Sox, Shota Imanaga, more on him in just a second. Michael King, a sub-3 ERA, fantastic in that Juan Soto trade. Reynaldo Lopez, just over a 2 ERA for the Braves. Seth Lugo was a workhorse, over 200 innings for the Royals. Shaw Manaea, great for the Mets. Bryce Miller, the Mariners, and Cole Reagans as well. Hop aboard the Cole trade for the Kansas City Royals. Reagans, by the way, ranked 9th among all pitchers, a 5 WAR this season. And lastly, Chris Sale, he won the NL Triple Crown, led the league in wins, ERA, and strikeouts. Christopher Sanchez, the Phillies, Paul Skenes, more on him in a second. Skubal is going to win Cy Young in the American League. Rangers Suarez, Framber Valdez, Logan Webb, always a workhorse, again, over 200 innings. And Zach Wheeler, for some, still could be the Cy Young Award winner. He was amazing. Now, as far as the Rookie of the Year, it's been a great race all year, Zach. Paul Skenes, Jackson Merrill for Skenes, a sub-2 ERA. He was amazing.
Yeah, it's hard to live up to the hype when you're as heralded as he was, signed number one overall out of LSU. And the more you watch, the more you like, the more you're amazed. I think he's the best polished college pitcher I've seen coming out. I know there's a lot of comparisons to Steven Strasburg, but I think his stuff's better. I think he knows how to use it better. He has 5 weapons, Adnan. He knows how to use all of them. He can embarrass you with the fastball. He has the splinter. He has the curveball. He has the slider. And on top of all that, he's kind of a throwback to a guy that pitched in the 70s, 80s, or 90s. He looks like what an ace was supposed to be, what Nolan Ryan, Roger Clemens, Brett Saberhagen, Pedro Martinez, John Smoltz, Greg Maddux. He's what they look like. He fits the bill.
And I used to love, we talked about his workout routine, the stuff he'd be doing.
Wild, crazy stuff, right?
Whatever works for this guy. Skubal, model of consistency, Steve. His worst ERA in any month was 3.05 in August. Incredible for the Tigers.
Right from the start to the very end, absolutely overpowering. I mean, the stuff he has, the average fastball at 97, 98 miles per hour, overpowering. And the mix of pitches, 228 strikeouts. 35 walks, the two-seam and four-seam fastball, the top of the zone overpowering. Then the slider. He can bury it down to the back foot of the right-handed hitter. He can get the swing and miss from the left-hander, and then the Bugs Bunny changeup. Watch the hitters spin themselves into the ground right here. Same delivery, great deception, different in velocity, and then the energy and the tenacity on the mound. This guy was a 9th-round draft pick. How is that possible?
Insane how great he was. 228 batters he struck out, only 35 walks. That 6.5 strikeout to walk ratio is third best in the majors behind only George Kirby and Brian Wu. I'm going to give some love to Shota Imanaga. We're all focusing on Yamamoto coming over from Japan. Imanaga quietly had a great season for the Chicago Cubs. Matter of fact, his .833 winning percentage, second best in the majors, but only Chris Sale. When he was out there, it was win day. He also posted the 7th best strikeout to walk ratio, 6.3, 10th in the majors, a 2.91 ERA. The Cubs went 23-6 in his starts and 60-73 in other games. If the Cubs had Imanaga all the time, they would have made the playoffs. He had 2 blow-up starts, by the way. If you remove those 2, he would have had a 2.11 ERA. I thought he was fantastic, the Chicago Cubs. Time now for the big reveal. All year, I felt like an Emmy Awards host here, and the nominees are. And now it's time for the biggest awards of them all. Zach, give us your All-MLB team.
I know in this business you're hired to be fired, but I really feel strongly if I were hired to manage this team right now, if I wouldn't survive 5 years, I deserve to be fired after the first year. I mean, you take a look at this array of talent. Yep. More importantly, look at that depth of that starting rotation. You have 2 lefties, 3 power arms. You have Clase and Helsley at the back end of the bullpen. You have youth, you have experience, you have Judge, and oh, by the way, you have Ohtani. You can't ask for anything more.
The one that I think really stands out here for me, Zach, is Jackson Merrill. Why'd you put him in your outfit?
I put him in there because I think he's had such an impact on the Padres. I don't think the Padres would have been in the conversation with the postseason without him. An infielder by trade, 21 years old, playing a premium position at center field. There isn't a lot he can do, and he brings a lot of energy to the ballpark.
I like your reasoning. He was great, especially in late game situations. He was awesome. Philly, what do you got?
Well, just a few changes from Dan's roster. So at second base, I'm going Ketel Marte instead of Jose Altuve. I'm going Jarren Duran in the outfield. 5th highest WAR in baseball. This guy was an absolute stud. Power and speed combination. William Contreras behind the plate. The production, 90 RBIs, 90 runs scored. The most since 2009, and Joe Mauer getting it done in his MVP season that year. Same pitching, though, as Dan. And if I come back as general manager, happy for this to be my roster. Happy
Looks
to
fantastic. All right, I'll throw up my list now as well. I think me and Steve are very similar, particularly our infield. We've got the exact same catcher, Ohtani at DH. Well, I guess my change here is I've got Teoscar Hernandez in the outfield. I just think he had a great year for the Dodgers, bounced back from a lot of power with those guys were disappointing. And pitcher-wise, I want to throw in some love for Michael King. Again, a great trade for both teams. The Yankees get Soto, and A.J. Preller smart enough to get Michael King. I'll throw in Mason Miller as a reliever, but I'm glad both of you guys mentioned Helsley. He's definitely under the radar of what he's able to accomplish. Certainly it is an amazing list of players and talent right now. And I think what's amazing, Dan, is you go, look at the time right now between young players, old players. It's a great mix right now in Major League.
It is. When you have a guy like Paul Skenes who burst on the scene, the big spotlight on him. He's been kind of win day. We call it Paul Skenes Day whenever he pitches. Some great young players to go along with guys like Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge.
I think the thing for me that's amazing is how many of those guys on our rosters are going to be in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like, we've got the impact superstar talent in the postseason this year. It's going to make it so much fun.
こういう表彰や投票が始まるとシーズン終了を実感しますよね。日本人選手として大谷翔平選手はもちろんですが、今永昇太選手も本当に目覚ましいデビュー1年目だったと誇らしく思ってしまいます。皆さんのお気に入りの選手はノミネートされていましたか？もし入っていなかったら、今年はこの選手のここがすごかったとコメントで教えてくださいね。最終的な結果がどうなるのか、そして明日から始まるプレーオフはどうなるのか、皆さんと一緒にドキドキしていけたらと思います。それでは次回の動画でお会いしましょう。さようなら。